Hi everyone, welcome to After Class with Ballet for All,
a podcast by two passionate adult ballerinas about all things adult ballet related.
and some random thoughts in between.
We're so glad you're here.
So grab your water bottle
Or a cup of coffee.
and join us for a quick chat after class.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We are so glad you guys are here, and we're really excited this week. We get to interview one of our own from the Ballet for All community, Maggie. You've probably heard us reference her in past episodes, and we finally were able to schedule a time to have her on the show, and we are so excited for her to share her story as an adult ballerina. So welcome to the podcast, Maggie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Obviously, I've been a listener from the beginning, so I'm really excited to be on here.
So lovely to have you finally here. Like, we are the three originals Ballet for All students and teacher. Maggie, tell us a little bit more about yourself, not just related to ballet, so more about your profession, your age, and where you live, etc.
So my name is Maggie Watson. I live in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State specifically, with my husband of almost 10 years and our two sons who are 13 and 5, and our two cats. I work for, I think now we're the second largest paper and packaging company in the world. So that's kind of neat. My title recently changed, so I am procurement coordinator. But what that really means is I maintain data quality for the millions of spare parts that we have in inventory. It's about as interesting as it sounds, but I really enjoy it. I have a degree in library science and archival studies, so being able to use my research abilities and skills is really helpful. And I love the team that I work on. Everyone I work with is just really smart and just amazing people. So I've been working there for about 10 years too.
My book loving nerd heart thinks it's so cool that you have a degree having to do with archival studies and library. That's so cool to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what? That's actually something I've always thought would be a cool job, having no idea what it actually entails. But
oh yeah, it was a really fun degree to get, and also I worked at a lot of places up here, like the Secretary of State, the Archives Department, the Law Library at the state capitol. It's given me a lot of wonderful experiences. And my husband, he's a local historian, so he works at the museum, and that's kind of how I met. I'm like, oh, I have a degree in archival studies, maybe I'll volunteer. And I met him, and we got married, and now our house is just books. 50% of it is books.
I love that. That's so fun. I feel like a house without books is not a home.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Totally understand.
Yesterday, I found a book in one of the studios that I'm teaching in person, and it's about Balanchine and all the history of his ballets. And I couldn't take it away because it doesn't belong to me, but I'm buying that book, and I'm getting it as soon as possible. It's just a house without books. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, Maggie, I would love to hear, because I actually was thinking about this before we jumped on, and I don't think that I fully know. Yelena, you probably know more about your ballet journey specifically. When did you start? I believe you started as an adult, right? But if you want to just kind of give us a little bit of background about how you came to find ballet and what that kind of looked like for you.
Absolutely. So it actually started before my love of ballet. There was love of classical music. And when I was a kid, I started playing violin when I was maybe 10 years old. And I just fell in love with it. Classical music was who I was for so long. And I played well into adulthood. And through that love of classical music, I knew friends who were in ballet. And I was like, oh my God, I still want to be in ballet. But I'm one of 5 kids. And my parents were like, listen, you get one thing. You get, violin or ballet. I was sticking with violin. So growing up, I didn't have that opportunity, but I was afforded private violin lessons. So don't cry too hard. So think when I was about 17, a friend of mine who's very into musical theater said, "Hey, I'm taking a ballet class at the community college. I don't want to do it alone. Do you want to do it with me?" It's like, heck yeah, let's do it. And oh my gosh, like I fell in love all over again. It was all I wanted to do. And I had such an amazing teacher. She was so Cicchetti trained. And like when I say ballet teacher, she's exactly what you would anticipate, like 10 feet tall, long hair, and just very kind. And she was all about like making everything a very inclusive, kind, nurturing sort of place. So I was so lucky to have her. And so I did that for a couple of years. And then I moved up to Washington, and I kind of just decided, well, I don't know how to start all over again. So I decided to put myself into just focusing on my studies. And I just decided to like finish college and did that. And then when the pandemic hit and joy was like at a shortage, maybe I could try ballet again. And so I went on YouTube and I found Yelena's videos, and I was hooked. I was so excited. So I started doing her videos, and then I joined up with Veronica Kay, and she had classes for a little bit, but then she focused more towards like dance training. And that was about the time Ballerina started offering classes. It was like, yes, this is it. And during that time, I started on Instagram, and I was just amazed how many people were interested in my journey and how many people were doing the same thing, and just felt like such a really beautiful community to be a part of. And I'm grateful every day for it. The continuous support and just absolute joy that everyone has.
Oh, definitely, Maggie. I loved your journey on Instagram, and I think it's just contagious that I see that you are like dancing and people see you and they get all motivated, and the comments, and you're kind of getting like a little bit vulnerable, right? As you open yourself to everyone. And that's just awesome. I just love it, Maggie. I think it's incredible. I think we talked about it before, and it's funny because talking about Instagram, you said that we asked you, how many years had you been learning now ballet for, like without stop?
I consider the years that I danced in college, those were like, I don't know, training wheels, I guess, for what I consider like my main ballet journey really began in 2021. So like 3 years now. And just because I was able to, watch a video and go, oh, I recognize what those words mean. I know what a plie is, rond de chambre, but I didn't quite understand the details, I guess, that went into it. So I kind of spoke the language a little bit.
So what it is about ballet, Maggie, that passionate and brings that joy out of you? What is that makes you love it?
To me, ballet is this otherworldly, like, beautiful experience. And I to watch any ballet is just, it's overwhelming. It's just a beautiful art form. Even like contemporary ballet, it's just such a beautiful thing to watch. And what I love, and kind of like what keeps me going, is because I'm so steeped in it on my social media, obviously by choice. I seek out these videos of professionals dancing and famous people dancing, and I'll just watch a clip, and I can go, I can do that. Obviously, the 10 pirouettes. No, that piqué soutenu that Baryshnikov did like perfectly. I can do that. And so, sort of seeing those little pockets of joy, I guess, for lack of a better term, that like being able to connect with that, and being able to see myself in the bigger community. For instance, the same pliés that we're going to do later today in class, they're the same pliés Anna Pavlova did. They're the same pliés Baryshnikov did. Tyler Peck is doing them somewhere too. the same, we're focusing on the same exact things. We all want the same thing. And it's beautiful to be a part of that. It just brings me joy every time I'm at the bar. I might not be smiling because I'm like focused on 10,000 things that you have to do, but I love that connection.
That's such a fun way to look at it too, because I don't think I've ever really thought of it that way. You know, I think everyone would probably give a slightly different answer to that question of what it is that makes them feel motivated or inspired to do ballet. And so it's fun to hear what other people's why is, because I think that's like a really cool way to look at it. Like, I don't know that I've ever quite thought of it like that before, but it's a really inspiring way to think of it, like of being part of something bigger. And yeah, like you said, we're all doing the same bar, you know, the same sequence, and it's like you're entering into this tradition that's gone before you and will keep going after us. And I don't know, it's a really beautiful way to look at it. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, because as you mentioned when you introduced yourself, you have a full-time career, you have 2 kids, a husband, is how do you stay motivated to train so consistently and be so disciplined? Because I know we're in class together 2 days a week, and then you take other programs. And I know you are like the rock star in our class of practicing outside of class. I'm always like, I see your Instagram stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, Maggie's practicing the choreography from last class. I need to practice the choreography from last class. So how do you stay motivated to be so consistent and so disciplined?
I think for me, what it comes down to is I have a really fantastic support network. My husband, he is the rock star. He's the one. He'll come home on his lunch break and help me rearrange my space to like get my bar ready and make sure I have space to move and sweep and everything like that. He's the one that's like, I got the kids. Yeah, I know that I can rely on him, that I don't have to like fight for that time. I don't have to say, listen, you need to do this. He just does it.
Oh, love a good ballet husband.
But one thing I have found is ballet, I love it. It brings me joy like no other. But every class is not always joyful.
Mm-hmm.
So there are days I know that we all have them where we're just, our brain just isn't there. But we do our best and we show up. And I think the consistency of showing up for yourself and keeping going, like there have been multiple classes where I've been there and I feel like I'm trying my best, but I'm just so mad at my body because I'm like, you know how to do this. Why aren't you doing the things I know you know how to do? I'm like, I want to cry and say, well, today's over. But I don't. And those are the classes that I think I learn the most in, because those are the ones that Yelena's coaching. Like, okay, I know you can do this. Remember, you know, here are the pieces that you need to remember. And I write those down. I look back and I'm always happier that I finished the class. I went through the class. I know that I can do hard things because ballet is hard. I had someone leave a beautiful comment that made me laugh. She said, you do this for fun? I love that. But ballet is so hard. And just because it's not happy every single moment doesn't mean it's less enjoyable.
Yeah.
And being able to see your consistent improvement over time, that's so gratifying.
Yeah, it reminds me of, and I'm gonna not remember it completely accurately, I'm sure, but it's the saying about it takes how many days to build a habit? Like 14 days to build a habit, or 30 days. I don't know the amount of days, but basically the point being that it takes 18 days. 18 days to build a habit. Yelena's motioning to me. 18 days. Yeah. Whatever it is, however many days it is, I think that's like, once you get into the consistency, it gets easier to stay in it. And I think that that's the type of consistency that you need to have built up in order to push through the hard days, you know? And so I think, like you said, if you can kind of keep showing up for yourself and proving to yourself, I can do hard things, I can push through, it's like the more consistent you are, the easier it is to stay consistent.
Exactly. And to add to that real quick, just in the beginning, I want everyone to know we all suck. We all start from somewhere. And there's going to be a point where you keep showing up and you're improving, but you're just not where you think you should be. Don't worry, you will get there. You just have to keep putting in the work and putting in the time. And you will get to a place where you can look at what you've done and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was so frustrated with doing tendus. I can do them perfectly now. Like, you will get there.
Mm-hmm. It is true. It is, like, I understand it's a little bit frustrating sometimes. Like, we all have been in different levels. Like, Hannah sometimes with her point class, she feels like, but I'm not improving. You are, you just don't see it yet, because it also depends how you're comparing yourself with who, with what. And with you, Maggie, you want to go to your point shoes, and I'm so glad that you've been very patient with that, because we can get all desperate, like, but I've been doing ballet already for 3 years. Why can't I not go on point? I did ballet at the age of 7 for 3 years before I got to my point shoes, and professionally every day, 6 days a week. And I had to wait 3 years. So we trust the process. We will get there. And it's just being in the right mindset and being very strong as well for any goals that we want to go. But it is frustrating. Sometimes we feel like, but I don't get there. But one day you just look back and you're like, oh, how did I get here? Like, now I can do these steps, and it's really easy. It is taking your time and staying motivated is really difficult. So on that note, Maggie, I know that you don't only do ballet, you also do, like as we said, other trainings. So what method do you use to help yourself to improve apart from ballet classes?
So apart from taking our online classes twice a week, I am a consummate note taker in class. I'm just one of those people that, in order for my brain to fully understand something, I need to write it down. It doesn't matter what it is, I need to write it down. So one thing that that has helped me improve is reading my notes, like actively taking my notes, looking back on them. Usually what I'll do is during a combination or what have you, if I got a correction that was like really triggering in a good way, like, oh, I see, okay, I need to do that. Or I felt this way when I did X. I'll write that down, So like one of my notes is coupe, pirouette, arms, arms, arms. So I went back and after class when I'm like rolling out and everything, I can go, oh, that's right. But the correction was to open my arm, but also not to give too much force because otherwise I'll fall out of the chart. I write it back and sort of reflect on everything. And part of the process preparing for class the next day is to go over those notes and remember, okay, that's right. That's what I'm going to focus on. And those are usually the things that I try to focus on for the next class. Another thing, this is going to sound stupid, but I have a list of everything you should focus on for each step in class. So what makes good pliés? Where's body placement? What helps with, good deep plie? And I just sort of review it while I'm warming up to go, okay, remember every activity. Remember when I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. And sometimes the things that I really want to remember, I'll even write them down. And I usually do some sort of, Veronica K has an amazing program for dance training. And in fact, when I first started, my youngest son was like 2, maybe. And I started her core class. Before that, I couldn't lift myself up out of bed. I had to I didn't have the core strength after having the baby, after having a second. So after her core class, 2 weeks in, I was like, wait a second. Oh my God. I had no idea my core strength was so lacking. And so ever since then, I go back to that, you don't know that you might be deficient in certain ways. So focusing on one area or two areas, you can really see growth and development. And so dance training is, I think, just as integral as actually taking class, if you ask me.
Yeah. Maggie is like the model student. Like any teacher, Maggie, would be lucky to have you.
I
Because you
agree.
just like the way that you don't come in kind of just haphazardly you have like an attack approach, I think, to doing things where if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this systematically and with excellence. You've inspired me watching your Instagram, and even in the middle of class where I see you grab your notebook to write down, you know, an explanation or a correction. You kind of make everyone else rise by the example of how hard you work. And so I'm just like, kudos to you, because it's really fun to be a fellow student with you, because you inspire me. And I'm sure other people that have been in our class have felt the same way. So I just want to say that because you're awesome.
What has been the most challenging aspect of doing ballet as an adult for you?
That's hard to say because I think there's more advantages to being an adult ballet dancer than there is disadvantages. I mean, advantage one, we have adult money. Like, we can buy the cutest ballet clothes. But I think, again, more advantages than disadvantages. But one disadvantage is you really, or at least I'm really mindful of my body. I am 37, so I am aware that I'm not a spring chicken, and I'm at a point where I have the confidence to advocate for myself and my body in a way that my younger self could not have. You know, if the teacher said, we're doing this pirouette, and my body's like, tell you what, we can't do passe, but we can do coup de pied. That's what we'll do, as like a compromise. Or, you know, I know this is supposed to be on releve. My cats say, no, thank you. I'm doing this class. So not being able to, or at least being more cautious of what my body is capable of, although I'm so proud of how capable and strong my body is now, more so than ever. But being mindful and careful not to push too hard, but also to still push.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love that about doing ballet as an adult, because having done it for a little while as a kid and coming back to it as an adult, I completely agree with what you said about having a different level of confidence to kind of advocate for yourself. I think, you know, when I was younger, like you said, I totally would have just been like, okay, if, you know, even if I was like totally hurting and shouldn't be doing it, I just would have done it. And I think now, like, even I think it was last week at one of my in-person classes, my back was off in class, and so I did most things on flat, and doing pirouettes, I did most of my pirouettes in coupe instead of in passe. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. And even the teacher, like, she doesn't care either. She's like, do what you need to do. And I love that there's like a different level of letting everyone be adults, because we are adults, and just like doing what you need to do for your body rather than this like fear mentality. Maggie, one thing I wanted to ask you about, I'm excited for this question because I know you and I have had sidebar conversations about this throughout our time as students together, is you and I share a passion for ballet fashion. So I want to hear what are like your favorite clothes, brands, just all of the things, because you always have cute leotards, cute stuff. There's been things that I have literally gone out and bought because you wore them and I'm like, I need that. And so, yeah, I would love to hear from you, like what some of your favorite dancewear brands and items are that you could share with our listeners.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So I cannot emphasize enough how much I love Cloud and Victory. Everything. Every leotard is just a home run, and they're the ones that I wear the most. My husband will actually comment on it when he's doing laundry, like, oh, the llama again. Or like, yes, the llama.
And we both have the cat one, right? You and I both have the cat leotard, which is like, again, always a home run. Every time I put that on, I'm like, it's going to be a good day at class today.
Oh, exactly. Because when you put on something that is beautiful, you carry yourself a little bit differently. So as a size 14, I have noticed that the dancewear companies are not exactly size inclusive. So there are so many companies that I would love to buy from, but I'm like, I thank you, but I can't, unfortunately. So I that's why, again, why I love Cloud and Victory. Sodanka, their warm-ups have unichokehold. Like, I just want every single one of them. They're so cute.
Yeah, those purple booties, those warm-up booties that you bought first, and I was like, I need those.
And it's fun to look at other clothing companies and just sort of go, can I wear this to ballet? Like, am I comfortable sweating in this? Okay. So, like, some of my sweaters are from Selkie, and some of my leg warmers are from them too.
Maggie, you and I have joked about this. Like, I'm in this for the clothes, really. Yeah. Just to be honest about why I'm dancing. Like, the clothes, come on. They're wonderful. So it's like playing dress up every time you go to class.
I know. I love it so much. It's really the best.
And even sometimes, like, when you're having a day where you're just like, oh, I'm not feeling great. And then you put on your cat leotard or your llama leotard from Cloud and Victory. And you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready to dance.
I know. Like, I'm never not happy when I wear those.
Yeah.
Like, you just put it on and you're ready to go. You're happy.
So this podcast is not sponsored by Cloud and Victory, by the way. It probably is starting to sound like it is. However, if she would like to sponsor this podcast, we would gladly accept her sponsorship. If you're listening, men from Cloud and Victory.
We have one more question, Maggie. So if you could have a coffee with any dancer, who will it be and why?
Hands down, Baryshnikov. I don't know. I think it might be like one half me fawning all over him and be like, do you know how perfect you are? Do you know what a brilliant dancer you are? Do you know that you've changed ballet, sir? Like, I love his dancing. Whenever I'm having like a day, just watching him dance in anything just makes me just so happy. He's so clean, proficient, and beautiful and masculine, and his dancing just, like, you can't watch him and not feel something. Even if he's just doing, like, 20 pirouettes in a row, like, you feel something after watching him.
Definitely.
I had a feeling you were going to say him just because I know on your Instagram you post videos of him dancing a lot. I was like, I bet she's going to say to Baryshnikov. I think he's like her dance crush.
Oh, absolutely.
Maggie, it was so fun having you on the podcast. It's so fun that we got to learn more about you and just hear about your ballet journey. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to After Class with Ballet for All.
Join the community on YouTube and Instagram, or come dance with us, our weekly Zoom classes for adult ballerinas like you.
Links included in the episode description. Special thank you to our sponsors.
See you next time after class. Podcast produced by Mission Bridge Media.